So we're getting a bit done, actually. I'm getting a bit done. Where were we up to? So we've got the exhausts. I've done a lot of work on the exhaust. It was getting a lot of fumes, it was leaks. So I had to weld up a few things. And if anyone sees my car, you'll notice I'm more of a grinder than a welder. Thankfully, it's just on things like the exhaust and bits, nothing structural. Don't let me near anything structural. The other side I've noticed though is still leaking a little bit, so I'm going to have to pull that apart. Don't want to, but I need to, and use some new sealant and such on it and do some adjustments. So that'll be good. The car's running pretty well at the moment. Booked in for tuning at Checker Tuning in the second week of August. So when I get back from Queensland round 2, covering that, I'll be able to tune it, and then a couple of weeks later we'll go test at Calder. I've still got to do a full setup on the car. Just waiting on brake pads. There's a bit of welding that's been done on the front that has been left bare, so I need to clean that up. Need to check the rear brake calipers are on wrong. They have been the whole life of the car, so I've spoken to a couple of people who are much smarter than I am and both agreed that they're on wrong. Can get away with it to start with, but need to change that. They're basically upside down. So it's whether we can flip them or whether we need to put them onto the back, which would be different mounts, meaning the back part of the rotor, they're on the leading edge, maybe they're meant to be trailing edge. So the piston sizes are the big pistons at the top, it should be at the bottom, little piston at the top when it's on the front. Yeah, don't debate me on it. I can send you the messages of, the numbers of the people that are smarter than I am that have figured that out. Anyway, so waiting on all that stuff. What else do we have to do? Let's go have a look at the board. I know there's a lot of little things to do. Well, I still got to mount an Oberg filter. Don't have to get that straight on, but that needs to happen. Rain light mount, finished swirl pop mount, headlight covers, which Norm's making. Yeah, waiting on brake pads. Got to make toe points. It's got no toe points, nowhere to tow it. Just got to check the splitter mounts. I'm not sure how strong they'll be. That's a cool idea, but it looks a bit worn. Need to make a rear diffuser. Need to do a full suspension check and setup. Just check wiring again. I've got to fiberglass the inner guards because they're all worn out. There's a bit of body work still to do. What else? I'm still trying to find spark plugs. The spark plugs in this car aren't made anymore. Battery terminal. So I've got a new battery coming, which will mean that we shouldn't have to have a trolley at the dummy grid. So that hopefully will come today or tomorrow. I've got to get some terminals for that. I was going to get a spare MSD, spare fuel pump. Got the gasket seals, that's all right. Gonna pick up some Penrite oil tomorrow, so that'll be probably part of this video. I've got to fix my trailer still from the Western Australia trip. It got a bit damaged and worn out, so got to get a new tyre on it and check a few things and weld up some stuff. What else was there? What else? Got to fix these little plastic things here. These plastic things, which I noticed the Tomasi car doesn't have anymore, but I do. So they're a bit shitty how they're attached. They're broken clips, partly my fault, partly the age when I took them off. So I need to attach them better because they do look a bit nicer on the car. Got to still do the door trim for this side. I'm not going to run a door trim on that side, but I do need to clean up the edges because they are catching. The window, it's a bit of a shit to put in. I need to probably open up these holes a little bit more, maybe make Zeus fasteners to attach, and Zeus fasteners can be a bit shit as well, but that needs to happen. Got to look at our clearances, the car, but I can't really do that until I set the car up properly. Yeah, done heaps. I don't even know if I've covered all in the videos, but yeah, a lot of the wiring's all done now. The covers are done. The covers at the moment, look, the covers are using screws, not Zeus fasteners or quick releases. It's not ideal. But I looked into doing these special ways of fixing them that John Goulet does, but it works out. It costs an absolute fortune. So look, it's something that I'm going to do. I'm going to change how that attaches. I can get it apart pretty quickly. So yeah, look, and the good thing about it, something that's positive is that we don't usually race. We only race like twice a day. So there's time to come in, let the car cool down, take the covers off. I suppose we're screwed if it's a really quick thing we need to do in between, then we're kind of stuffed. But being that I will be predominantly running the car by myself, or a version of, at the moment, hopefully there's a few guys interested in helping Just got to get them aware of how it works and get someone regular if I can. But if I'm just doing it by myself, then whatever. It is what it is. I can't do a rush repair anyway. You know, if I miss a race or whatever, it is what it is. What else? I think that's about it for the moment. So as you can see here, they've welded a plate when they put this different steering rack in. It originally had an IndyCar rack. I don't know why they got rid of that. Maybe it was rooted, I'm not sure. Would have been super cool to have it, but I don't understand why they replaced a manual rack with a manual rack. I would have thought you'd upgrade to a power steering rack, but anyway, we'll stay with manual for now. So I need to pull this off, give this a clean up and give it a lick of paint. There used to be lots of paneling all on here, but that's all missing now. All under there used to be paneling as well, but again, it's all missing. So, which is a real disappointment because it looked really good the way it was originally built. So yeah, fun times. Still got to sort out what, waiting for pads to come. We think we've got pads that are going to fit straight in. And then we're going to have to chase up rotors for down the track, but that'll be fine for now. Yeah, I need to just sort of check some of this stuff as well when I pull it apart, and then we'll do a setup. So yeah, in the back, waiting for another battery to arrive, which will allow us not to have to worry about having a jumper pack on the dummy grid. Yeah, it's all sort of starting to come together back here. Need to do a bit of work on this stuff. It's all damaged and there's big holes in it. Oh, that you can see here. There's holes and stuff all over the place, even through there's holes. So I've got to suss all that, make a rear diffuser. Yeah, a bit of work back here still. Got to pull the rear wheels off and we'll suss those calipers, which look like it's going to be a major friggin' drama. So I'm pretty happy about that, but I can love this car. It's a sick car. It's going to be good. So it might just take a bit of time, a few years to get on top of it, get us up to speed. But yeah, cool base, good base for what we want to do. So what we've noticed with these, well, what I should say, what Brad noticed is that the pistons up the top here are big and the pistons down the bottom here are smaller. And I don't know about all this stuff, but Brad does. And basically when this is turning this way, the small piston should be up the top and the big piston down the bottom. Now by looking at this, it looks like the bleed nipples can go either side. So I'll probably put this video up before I do it, just in case someone watching this goes, no Ran, you can't do that with those calipers. But by a look of it, these calipers, this caliper could go on the other side, flipped over. So that means move these bleed nipples and then we'll have the pistons in the right spot. So let's see what you people say. So yeah, like I said, I should give credit to Brad Sheriff. Brad picked it up in a photo, and now Brad might be like, what, you don't trust me? But I double checked with John Goulet. To be honest, they're both pretty bloody smart people. Obviously Brad's very good with turbo and John's very good with V8, and they both know how to engineer stuff to go fast. So yeah, I appreciate the support and that you guys noticed that and I appreciate that, Brad, you noticed it and pointed it out to me, and thanks John for confirming. So yeah, I think they're pretty good people to be basing my judgments on. No offense to anyone else. I know that lots of people give me advice and a lot of it's really good, so thank you very much. So something else I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing is we're going to be running a few fans. Not all the time, because I'm going to run a few fans, not all the time obviously, but we've got the first fan, which is the blower fan for my helmet, which is this one here. So that will give me cool air, which comes from up here, goes into there, and we spoke about that another time. But what we've also got, these just arrived from Seaflow. Well, maybe not from Seaflow personally, but anyway, these are like a bilge pump blower, sucker, thinger. And what this will allow me to do is I'm going to run one which will exit through here. So it'll be pulling air out anyway, but just to be pulling any possible fumes out of this area. So because I'm in a confined area, I just want to make sure that I'm not getting gassed out. So we've got a cool air source here, which comes through and obviously can exit there. But what I'm going to do is run a hose from one of the covers here, which will run into this guy here, and it will be pulling out. So it might not always need to run. I might run two. One that will probably, look, I'll probably run one to here that doesn't have a blower, so that when I'm driving really fast, it's just pulling the air through. And maybe I'll have a secondary, this one pulling air out of in here, just to exit out the back of the car or something, so that if I need to pull some fumes out, because it can happen, and I don't want to get gassed out. Now, something I also noticed on Nathan's Trans Am 2 car is he had a blower somewhere in here, I have to find a spot, which was so that obviously if it's raining or the front screen fogs up, he can turn that on and do that. So I bought two of them because I like to buy two of everything. And that's my hot tip, always buy extra stuff if you can, especially if it's not that expensive, especially with nuts and bolts and things like that. But any belts, just buy freaking two, man. Like, usually they combine the postage, so it's cheaper on postage. And, you know, obviously I'd have two motors if I could, but that's a bit more expensive, and two gearboxes and two diffs, but that's not me, that's some of the other guys. And I wish it was me. But, you know, definitely with things like that, I buy two of, if I possibly can. With nuts and bolts, actually, if I need one bolt, I'll buy 10 and chuck them in my spares, so I've got them there, because, you know, we lose them. So you build up a good bolt thing. And actually, talking about bolt things, I've got this thread checker. Now, I've got this, and I've also got some racework ones, and they still don't cover all the nuts and bolts that are on this car, but I just try and be organized. I'm trying to build up a good organization system, blah, blah, blah. It's getting pretty busy in here, but yeah, that's it for the minute.
It's one of the goals of Gen 3 is that, you know, you've got multiple winners, because for the championship, you know, it was a disaster having two teams win every single race of the championship. We were having a whale of a time. But even I knew deep down, well, this is actually not healthy for the sport. You know, it's one of the reasons I stopped watching Formula One.
So that's about it for today. Got a fresh dry sump belt on, started cleaning up all the steering mounts, gave the liquor paint to the steering arms, the tie rod ends, whatever the fuck you call them. Bunch of other things. Started measuring up some stuff, started mounting up the battery holder for the new big battery, and I've got to go down and get a brace made up. I'll get one made out of aluminium, get one welded up for me. I've drawn the dimensions for that, and then we can, when the battery arrives, we'll be able to put that in. Yeah, I've still got to look at the brakes, flipping them over. Fun times. Looks like they used, actually looking at that, it did have different brakes on the back at some point, because the mounts have got two different mounting points, so that's interesting. Wonder what he originally had. Anyway, off to get oil tomorrow from Penrite, fuel from Race Fuels, so that we can, for the dyno and for testing, then to drop off a nitrogen bottle which was leaking, so it's got no friggin' nitrogen, so it barely lifted the car up, and then get that brace made up and back into work on the car, then back into tattooing the next days before I go away to Sydney and Newcastle for work. All right, cheers everyone.